Welcome back, everybody. We are here with Bobby of the TNT College Football Podcast with absolutely no issues, technical issues at all, to talk about some Huskies football. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
For sure. So we both played on. We played because I suited up, and I think you suited up for UConn
Me too.
as well. Yeah, on third. But I didn't even realize it until
suited up for what?
I didn't realize this until we actually started. I started putting together the show notes and everything for this week. Last week, UConn was playing at the exact same time we were playing Rhode Island last week. They were playing at NC State last week, so I wanted to watch their game ahead of time to see what we could expect. But you guys were playing the same time. No early. What was it called? A long week for us. You guys have the same long week. That game didn't go as. I'm just rambling on now.
Well, I'm still curious about what you guys both suited up for.
Football. We played. We both played.
They're on the field. Yeah.
Okay. You're like, we both suited up. I'm like, what are you guys on like a soccer team together or something? Like, what are we doing?
I was the long snapper, and Bobby was the guy that puts his hand underneath your balls. The quarterback they call it. The quarterback they call it. Yeah.
That's all he does.
I'm sorry. I flew in from Memphis today. This is last call material. I'm already feeling pretty good. Anyhow, game did not go as you guys had hoped for, I suspect, but I think it went better than what they were predicting. What do you think of the game, Bobby, against NC State?
Well, I think realistically, NC State is either the second best team or the third best team on our schedule. Whether you want to put them or Duke at 2, you can debate that. We play Tennessee too, so I mean, so realistically, going into the game, everybody was just from the fan base's perspective was just excited to see where we stood, right, and to see how much we've improved. We played them last year in Raleigh and lost 41-10, but that was really the turning point of our season last year, because we really started to click after that. But to see where we finished up this time, only losing by 10 at home. Me, of course, yes, you want to win every game you play, but there were just to see the improvement from this team from year 1 to year 2 under Coach Jim Mora it's really exciting. I mean, like I said, you want to win the game, but it was probably realistically the best outcome we could have.
So I have not got a chance to watch the game, but that's exactly what my perception is, looking at the stats and reading about the game as well, and looking at the score. Yeah, I had written down ESPN had only given you guys like a 15% chance of winning that game against NC State, and then you take a lead in the beginning of the game, only lose by 10 points. Like, if you got 15% chance to win and you only lose by 10, that's beating the odds, in my opinion. That's a better performance than what you expected. And I'm not a stats guy at all, but looking through some of the numbers, penalties killed you. You lost like 60 yards on penalties, where they only lost 5 yards. They had one penalty for 5 yards. And then you guys do an interception. And of course, obviously, when you give the ball to the other team, that is not how you want to play the game. So I think this was actually a lot better performance than what was expected. This UConn team is better than what we expected, is what I'm afraid of.
The way I look at it is, we could have won the game. Those penalties killed us, and we missed so many tackles. Like we almost beat ourselves, honestly. And we had a really tough time with Brennan Armstrong as a running quarterback. So Granger worries me to an extent there because of how well he can move, obviously. But again, I personally, going into the game, thought that we were going to really play well and have a chance to win this game. And to see that we did makes me happy.
Right. Well, so speaking of Granger, Ryan wears Darren Granger underoos. Like, that's his superhero outfit.
I'm going to get a tattoo on my ankle.
Just your ankle?
I wanted to talk to you a little bit.
It ends up at the end of the season.
I want to talk about obviously about the team a little bit, but I want to talk about Jim Mora Jr. as the head coach. I think we're all Atlanta Falcons fans. The three of us are Atlanta Falcons fans. I think I'm probably a little bigger of a Falcons fan than the other two are. But so I was a huge fan of Mora's when he was here, and I had no idea that he had taken the job at UConn, and so I was excited to see that. What do you think of Mora Jr. as the head coach over there?
Oh my goodness, he is just fantastic. The way he's been able to flip this program, because before he got there, it was an absolute train wreck. I mean, I think everybody it's been documented by many people how bad the program was, from the mid 2010s until 2021. It was rough, but he's changed the culture completely. He came in, he had a vision, and he's really installed that vision, and he's done it very quickly. And I know that, just from talking with him and so many of the players and other coaches, that this is something that they believed and knew would happen. So last year, I actually projected them to go 6-6 last year, and I took a lot of flack for that. I really did. and then they went 6-7. So I tell the Husky fan base that it's my fault that we lost the bowl game. But
you call it 7-6, right? That's on you.
Yeah,
you were just doing regular season, though, man. No fault of your own.
Well, so so UConn takes that whole like basketball thing a little too seriously. Like we call ourselves a basketball school just because our football program has never, we're a beach volleyball school, but we say that kind of stuff because we get embarrassed by our own program at times. But UConn was like, yeah, no, we're going to be a basketball school. We're going to win a national championship, and that's just what we're going to do. We're just going to be basketball. We're just going to be a basketball school. So it's good to see you got Coach Moore in there changing that culture a little bit.
Absolutely.
Congrats on the national championship win, by the way.
Yeah, they do some big things there. I'm actually a former college basketball coach myself, so that I love what they're doing on that side. Not national championships, that's for sure. But
that's awesome.
I won some significant games, I will say.
Excellent. Guys, before I ramble on more, do you guys have a question about the Huskies?
I had a question, not necessarily about on the field stuff, but about like all the conference realignment that's been going on. UConn always gets thrown up because they're an independent and FBS, and that's tough. Do you have any like scuttlebutt or any wants or dreams, or where do you want to see UConn, or where do you expect to see UConn in the next 5 to 10 years or whatever?
Well, I mean, with the landscape that is college football now, because I mean that's what it is. It's college football drawing the big bucks and everything. Of course, the majority of the fan base loves the Big East. They want to be in the Big East, but a lot of people also have to understand that moving forward, you have to be a part of the big money conferences, because even basketball fall by the wayside at that point.
Yeah. So
I personally think realistically that it's either the ACC or the Big 12 are the most realistic options. I know this past time through, the Big 12 was really considering UConn, but when the Pac-12 fell apart, they just had to grab all those teams while they could. Right. I firmly believe that UConn was going to be invited to the Big 12 during this past July-August movement that we've seen, but once the Pac-12 fell apart, they just had to shift that way. So I think the Big 12 is the more realistic option because Brett Yormark loves the New York City market. UConn brings that from a basketball perspective and football as well. And if we're up to me, I think that's where we'll end up down the road.
I mean, I've been eyeballing the Pac-12 for us because I hear they need some teams.
They do.
They need to move a little further east. I guess you could pick us both up.
Hey, I mean, you look at it, the ACC is now on the West Coast, so I mean, it doesn't matter anymore at this point.
Hey, what's the purpose of being a school in Atlanta if you can't utilize the airport to fly wherever you want to, right?
That's right. Once you're on an airplane, it doesn't matter, right?
This is true.
It's got to feel really good to be able to rattle off ACC and Big 12 just like it's no big deal. Like, yeah, we could go there, we could go here, no biggie. What was your thoughts on exiting the American? Did you guys enjoy your time in the American? Was it all just like basketball? We don't want to be in here. It's not the right fit. Like, how did you see that progressing along as you exited I guess it was the COVID year or transitioning into the COVID year and then not playing at all. And then poof, you're now Big East plus independent.
Well, I'll first say that I became connected with UConn in the school and the program and the fan base after that the American process took place. So I'll say this from just the communication I've had with other fans is so many people just hated it. It just didn't make sense at all. It hurt the basketball program, so a lot of people didn't like that. From the football perspective, the thing that hurt the worst is they just had, to be quite frank, they had terrible coaches and terrible leadership. So they just the crazy thing between like 2015 to 2021, or maybe even a little sooner than that, maybe even going to 2012, 2013, UConn had, I believe, 6 presidents and 4 head coaches, and they didn't even play the 2020 COVID year.
Right.
So the fact that the football program is where they are right now says a lot to what Jim Mora's done, honestly, because, like I said, the previous head coaches and the previous leadership, and I believe there was 3 or 4 ADs in that time frame too. So it was rough to say the least. So I mean, to see where they're at right now is pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, we've been at school for 110 years. I don't think we've even had 6 presidents yet.
Right.
Yeah, crazy. there was a stretch where it was an absolute train wreck.
Wow.
With a fantastic basketball program. Just
right.
Yeah.
Well, you get momentum, keep on trucking through it. It's like, whatever, we can weather this storm.
I don't know. They're in ESPN's backyard. I think they're just ESPN's sliding some money to those players without telling us and everything. So
that'd be true of football too, though.
No, ESPN doesn't care about football.
Oh, right. My bad.
Shifting back to the game. Oh, go ahead.
There's actually some disdain between ESPN and UConn, so that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show, though.
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds
F. Herb Street.
Or you had something to follow up, didn't you?
Yeah, no. Shifting back to the game, it looks like your offense is pretty balanced. Run versus pass. Is that historically last year, were you pretty balanced offense? Did you guys favor like more passing or more rushing? What do you expect out of the quarterback play this year and your offense in general?
Well, last season we definitely ran the ball a lot more. We had so many injuries on the offensive side of the ball last year. In the first game, in the first quarter, our starting quarterback last year tore his ACL. We lost our top 4 wide receivers early on in the season, within the first week or so. We lost our top 3 running backs within the first week or so, or first couple weeks, I should say. So we were playing a lot of freshmen. Like our quarterback was Zion Turner, a true freshman. Running back Victor Rosa was a true freshman. Tight end Justin Jolie was a true freshman. We had a lot of young guys out there last year. So I know this year, though, they want to be a lot more balanced. And you saw that in game 1 against NC State. We definitely need to pass the ball better than what we did. The yardage, we need to look downfield more. I think that's definitely something that we need to do, because we have some receivers who can stretch the field. We just, for whatever reason, we weren't looking at it the way that we should. But we do have a very, very good running game. We have a couple running backs who are very good. We have a really good offensive line. We have a right guard, Christian Haynes, who's an All-American. He'll be a high NFL draft pick, and other guys on our offensive line will get drafted down the road as well. So we have a really good offensive line. We have a good rushing attack. And I think with Joe Fagano, our new quarterback who transferred in from Maine, he knows the system really well, with working for our offensive coordinator, Nick Charlton, while he was the head coach at Maine. I really believe moving forward that things will click for the offense, and I'm looking forward to see the passing attack improving as the season goes on.
Well, we're not looking forward to that.
I was going to say the thing that I know about my team. is that if you guys need to work out some kinks, airing it out, you're going to be able to do it. So, we're the team to actually figure that out because I was a little rough last Thursday.
Don't give them all our secrets. Don't give them all our secrets.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. He's gonna email them and let them know. I mean, like they watched the game too. Whatever.
I did go back and watch you guys' game, and offensively, you guys got some talented pieces. Yeah. But I mean, you're right. Yeah, the defense,
secondary especially.
The secondary really was just
secondary.
rough.
Yeah, secondary. Yeah, I should secondary really because the linebackers were good, and but the secondary had some issues. That's for sure.
It was so bad it all sort of fell apart.
Yeah, I think that Georgia State identifies that John Madden description of football. Like, the team that puts up the most points on the board is going to win the game. I'm like, yeah, that's what we need to do. The offense will be firing on all cylinders, and the defense just to make a stop or two to make it happen.
Yeah, if we can't work out some kinks, we're going to see some shootouts all year long. And wouldn't that be fun to watch UConn do a shootout?
It's been a while since we've been in something like that, honestly. Yeah. From our offensive side of things, just because, like I said before, the previous coaching staffs we've had, it's been a train wreck on every facet of the
right,
anything and everything you could say. I mean, it's been awful. So I mean, it's taken a little time to get things clicking offensively, but I can see things moving in the right direction. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're kind of bouncing around a lot here, but like I feel like UConn is one of those programs. It's a national brand, I guess, because of basketball. That UConn name, like you have your own identity there, that whole thing. But to have had a program like the football program that has just not lived up to what the other athletics have been doing in the same university, it's just it's, for me, someone who's not a fan of the program, it's strange to see something like that. So it's I don't know. It's an anomaly to me. I don't know what. That's not a question. That's just me kind of just talking out loud right now. Someone have a question, please.
Well,
what do you think about what he just said?
I will say from in like 2010, 2011, UConn had some very, very good success on the football field. They played in a Fiesta Bowl in 2010 against Oklahoma, and just made some bad. Randy Edsel went to who was the head coach at the time. He went to Maryland, took the head coaching job there, and they just made some really just interesting and bad decisions from a leadership perspective for the football program that just didn't work out at all. So I mean, there's a history of UConn winning. When they were FCS in the Yankee Conference, they were very, very good. Did some really good things at that level. But I know a lot of people look at what they've done recently, and yes, it's been bad. But you can definitely win here because it's been done before, and Jim Moore is definitely building that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mean any discredit.
No,
it was
of course,
just kind of like perception type thing. And to your point, like it almost seemed like from an outsider's perspective that the university had even given up on football when they moved from Big East to go independent. They're like, basketball is our focus. We don't want to be part of this American thing that doesn't give our basketball program what they need. Whereas the rest of college athletics are like football.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing that matters. So I guess respect to the program, and to the extent they went with the bread and butter, what works for them and everything. But again, I'm just saying things. I don't even know. I don't have any questions.
But
come on, guys.
The change that we made in our current athletic director, Dave Benedict, he's really helped that with making football an important piece in this. And the state of Connecticut is really getting behind that too. So it's, again, we had some really, really bad leadership that led to those really bad decisions is all I can really say. And luckily now we got some good leadership now. We just got to hope that it's not too late.
Right.
So you basically have like the
football
whole.
goes and goes and goes and goes. There's no such thing as too late. It's just too late is never getting started.
You could just erase the last decade, right? And just erase the American Athletic Conference and just say, hey, we're independent. And then we went to the ACC or the Big 12. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
Yeah. I forgot to ask the most important question amongst all the questions I did not ask. Are you going to be able to make it the game? Are you going to come to the game on Saturday?
Unfortunately, I can't. I have 2 small children, so I
hear you. No, I hear you. I asked the question because I said this when I talked to the Rhode Island podcaster last week. Is it changes the tone of the podcast, because if you're not going to come to the game, I'll be a real big jerk. But if you're going to be here, I don't want to be a jerk, because I don't want you to come and punch me in the face.
Well, now that we know you're not going to come, hey, if you were here, you could come to our tailgate. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, one of the things that I do for my podcast, I have a bucket list to attend a home game at every FBS stadium. So I travel the country going to different games,
but not in Atlanta.
Yeah, independent.
Not yet.
Easier.
Not yet.
Because you're always jumping around, right? The independent aspect of it, and like coming up with rando schedules is like probably makes that easier, right? To hit more of them, not easier in general.
Well, the way I kind of do it is I try to I have 2 different parts of my podcast. I have my weekly UConn talk that I do, and then I have my national stuff too. So I try and base my travels off of my national things. Okay. Where I try to go to at least 1 or 2 UConn games a year. Like last year I went to their game against Michigan and then the game against Ball State. So I try to hit both, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, by the way, we obliterated Ball State in a bowl game 2 years ago. So just bust that one out.
That was the Rangers' best game.
You did.
Ever.
I remember that.
We need him to like repeat it.
Yes.
Over.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, he like just lights out. Just nuts game. I mean, we watched him all season long, and we're like, "What the heck? What is this? Who is this person?"
that was my COVID game too. I wasn't. It was Christmas Day, and I wasn't eating with my family. Yeah. Christmas Day, I was not with my family because I've got little kids, and because I had COVID and I couldn't even be home with my kids watching the game and everything. I had to be at my drinking buddy's house. Oh, that was so horrible. So this is gonna be a return trip. This is a home and home series. We'll be up in going to UConn next year to repay the visit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to a lot of games up there? What could we expect up there next year? I
haven't been yet. To quite frank with you, I can't speak from experience first. But I know this new coaching experience for fans.
We lost. We
you guys hear me?
A little bit. Yeah, we lost you there a little bit. It went to robot voices for a little bit.
You said you haven't been there a lot. I don't know. Maybe.
No, I've actually never been to Connecticut.
Okay.
What?
How did I find a
UConn podcaster that's never been to the state of UConn?
Well, it's a long story. I started my show as just a national podcaster. Then a lot of people at UConn were liking the stuff that I put out. So then I built a partnership with them and have become really close with the coaches and players. And it's been an amazing thing. I when I started this podcast or my journey with this, I had no intention of being connected to Connecticut football. But it's just grown into something amazing. And I've really become passionate about the team, the fan base, and everything. It's just a fantastic group of guys. The players are absolutely amazing. The coaches are amazing. But to answer your question about the going to a game at Connecticut, this past game against NC State, they had the most fans that they've had at a game since, I believe it was 2014 against BYU. And the student section absolutely packed it out. They did an amazing job. So it's changing from the perspective of people are really starting to back the program. And when you win, that happens. I mean, Coach Moore will be the first one to tell you, we got to win games for people to support us. And he says that all the time. And they're doing that. And the performance that they had against NC State, yes, they did win, but they showed a lot of people that they can compete with these higher level teams. And I think a lot of people respect that.
That's cool.
Well, look, if you're allowed to say it, you have not being a UConn fan from the get-go. Who was your number one team before UConn? Eddie's gone.
Georgia State, clearly.
Well,
He actually clicked the leave studio button now.
I grew up in Flint, Michigan, and my dad went to the University of Michigan.
Cool.
And so I grew up a Michigan fan.
Go Blue. My grandpa went there.
We have a Patreon member that will be very big fan of yours right now because you've got a new subscriber because of that statement right there. So,
and the Georgia fan in me also hates Michigan State, so we're good.
Oh, does Georgia have a beef with Michigan State?
Good.
We lost against Michigan State many times. I say we. I shouldn't say we on this podcast.
You should not, Ryan.
Georgia lost against Michigan State multiple times in the last decade.
Have they really? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like bowl games and stuff too. So it's like always when stuff's on the line and we care.
I guess that's why they scheduled Norfolk Stakes and UT Martins.
Look, let's not, okay?
Crap like that. So.
Let's not. Who do we have scheduled?
So do you?
UConn, I guess.
Yeah, but like we're crap. Yeah. So do you have a prediction? I mean, I'm not holding you to it, but do you have what is your thought on how the game's going to go on Saturday night?
Well, I respect you guys' offense a lot. I think Granger is going to pose some real threats to us as we struggled against a Russian quarterback this past weekend, or this past Thursday, I should say.
He can throw it now too.
He's learned.
But our defense, he can't. You're right. You're right. He showed that again. He showed that. I agree.
Yeah.
But our defense is very, very talented. Jackson Mitchell, our star linebacker, he was fourth in the nation in tackle last season. And our secondary, we have two of the best safeties and that a lot of people don't know about. Durante Jones and Malik Dixon-Williams are really, really good safeties. And I think that our defense is going to do a good job in this game. And I think the Huskies are going to win by 10.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
That's bold.
I like it. I like the confidence there. All right. I'm gonna make you hold it to this. If the Huskies win by 10, then you've got to join us up in UConn next year for the return game, so we can get some revenge on you
for your very first UConn home game.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I'm hoping to go to a game later this year, but I absolutely would be up for that. Absolutely.
For your very second UConn home game.
For your first UConn home game against Georgia State.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Bobby, for joining us. I appreciate it, man. Everybody go check out his podcast, TNT College Football Podcast. I'll have it all linked in the description and stuff like that. Thanks for talking to us, and hopefully we can talk to you next year. We'll talk about the game next year as well. Does that sound good?
Absolutely. I'd love that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bobby.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
Cheers, man.
Thanks.
Yep.
Peace out.
See you guys.